Yo, what's going on, YouTube, and welcome back to Goal Line Hockey. It's your boy Kevin Forte, and today we are going to be taking a look at the series so far between the Dallas Stars and the Edmonton Oilers. After the Oilers taking an early lead in that series, pretty dominant, winning Game 1. Now they have dropped games 2 and 3, leaving questions going into Game 4 in Edmonton as to if the Oilers can come back in this series. This is a pivotal game in this series, I think, for the Oilers if they want to come back. Going down 3-1 in this type of series, the way things have happened, it is going to be very difficult for the Oilers to win 3 straight games against the Dallas Stars. The way the Dallas Stars have been playing, the only time they've given up 3 games in a series was in the first round against Vegas. They dropped the first 3 games of the series, and they ended up winning that series. Or they dropped the first 2 games of the series, and they ended up winning the series. So it's one of those things for the Oilers. Things are going to have to be fixed pretty quickly here if they want to get back into it. But it's not too late, and that's the good news. So we're going to look at that today. So let's start off with how the series has gone so far. So like I said, the Oilers were dominant in Game 1, and a lot of people were thinking, damn, the Oilers might take this series pretty quickly with the way they played in Game 1. But as we know, Game 1 isn't necessarily indicative of the entirety of this series. We've obviously seen that in the Eastern Conference Finals so far in their matchup. So it's one of those things where since Game 1, the Dallas Stars have been peppering Stuart Skinner. And that was kind of the criticism after Game 1 was the Dallas Stars weren't shooting enough on Skinner. Well, they've definitely gotten their opportunities, and they've definitely taken advantage of them and scored a bunch of goals. The Darnell Nurse kind of hate has come back, which sucks, but is part of it. It's just one of those things right now. Looking at this team, the Dallas Stars just look like the better team. And that's been the thing with the Dallas Stars the entirety of the playoffs. The Dallas Stars have always been the team, in my opinion, that's why I picked them to win the Stanley Cup, because they are just built like that type of team. They have the perfect blend of young guys that are contributing, scoring goals. They have the energy and the drive and the youth. And then they've got the veteran leadership as well on the back end that can contribute some goals here and there. They calm the room down. In game situations like they did in the first round against Vegas, it would have been very easy for them to get very nervous going down 2-0 at home in that series, and they found a way to come back and win it. So it's one of those things where they just have the perfect blend, and let's not forget, Jake Ottinger. Jake Ottinger is a difference maker. I predicted that, and he's done everything that I expected him to do so far. And that's kind of where, on the Oilers side of things, I expected the Oilers to get to this point. I expected the Oilers to beat Vancouver. I expected them to beat LA. But when it came to a team like Dallas that just, let's be honest, they have similar offense, I would argue a better defensive system and better goaltending. And I think the Oilers are kind of seeing that take place the last 2 games in particular. And, what looked like was really smooth sailing in Game 1, all of a sudden it looks like the tires are completely burning out and things are falling all over the place in Edmonton. I wouldn't go that far, though, because the good news is for the Edmonton Oilers, they still have Zach Hyman, they still have Draisaitl, they still have McDavid, and even though McDavid isn't 100% healthy, he still has his feet, right? His wrist shot might not be on point right now, you might not see him shooting a lot. It seems like maybe an upper body, like a wrist or an arm or an elbow injury, something like that, because he's not really shooting the puck, but he's still got the foot speed, and that's huge because if he can bring the puck into the zone, transition well, he's going to allow guys to score on his line, and it seems like they are producing. So that's the key thing here for the Oilers. Like I said, it's not the end of the series, but this is exactly what I was worried about. And I said this 2 months ago. I made a video talking about the Oilers. Oilers fans gave me so much guff about the fact that just Stuart Skinner, we've seen this during the regular season with goalies where they do really well, but what is he going to do during the playoffs? During playoff time, when everything matters and everything is a game of inches, we're starting to see against, let's be honest, I think the Oilers would say they've had an easier path of the 4 teams so far left in the playoffs. They've had the easiest path to the conference finals, and I think they're really meeting a team that is a more equal match to them, and it just doesn't seem like things are going their way right now. And this is what I was worried about. I was worried about that defense. I was worried about that goaltending in particular. And we're starting to see that happen right now when it really matters. And, there's a reason. There's 4 teams left in the Stanley Cup playoffs. There's 32 NHL teams today in 2024. You have to be really good to get to that point. And I give the Oilers credit for that. But the weaknesses that the Oilers have of the 4 teams left, I would say of the four teams, the Oilers have the most glaring weaknesses in between the pipes, and that's really, I think, what ultimately is holding them back and might ultimately be what holds them back from getting to the Stanley Cup final. And like I said, it's a long series. The series is not over yet. I don't want to count the Oilers out because the second you do that, this video is going to come back to bite me. But as of right now, everything that I said about the Oilers that could be a concern is definitely on the table. And give credit where it's due. The Dallas Stars have been incredible in this series once again, finding ways to score goals. They were down in game 3. They were down in game 3, right? The Otter chance going on early, and I'm thinking, if I'm an Oilers fan, I probably don't want the Otter chance. Probably not the best thing to do because Jake Ottinger, even though he gave up 3 goals in this game, he still played fairly well, all things considered. And he had to play better than Stuart Skinner. And even on a bad night for Ottinger, he was still better than Stuart Skinner. And that, I think, is the really concerning thing. It's going to be interesting to see. I'm sure we'll find out here later today what happens with Jack Campbell. Is Jack Campbell going to step into Game 4? Maybe we see some kind of combination of lines changing up. I know fans don't want to see Draisaitl and McDavid on the same line because it breaks up the rest of the lineup. I completely understand that. They got to do something here. They got to do something to get the momentum back in this series. They have the best power play and the best penalty kill going into the playoff, into the conference finals of the 4 teams left. They're dominant on the power play and penalty kill. I don't know. Maybe you got to bait Dallas into more penalties. I don't know what it's going to take. You got to change the momentum a little bit here. And I think that, like I said, give credit where it's due. Pete DeBoer told these guys in Dallas, listen, they're going to try and lure you into penalties. Don't fall for it. And they've done a really good job so far of doing that. And my original prediction of Carolina and Dallas, Carolina didn't do their job. But the Dallas Stars right now, they're doing their thing. And this team is just built to win. And like I said, this is why I predicted them to win the series. As of right now, I like their odds. I like the way they've been playing, and shout out to my Dallas Stars fans. I think they remember what happened in 2021. They went to the Stanley Cup final, lost to Tampa. I think they're ready to come back to the Stanley Cup final. And for the Oilers, like I said, they have some work to do. I think Dylan Holloway has to continue his success. We need to see more depth scoring from the bottom 6, and we talked about that going into this series. For the Edmonton Oilers, they need that third line. That is the difference that we expected going into this series, and it has been the difference. There's been a spread of the minutes and the lineup as this series has gone along. That is going to play a factor. The Dallas Stars have been able to spread out the lines, keep the guys fresh at the top of the lineup. I don't know if the Oilers will be able to do that as this series moves forward. And listen, I've been wrong before. Maybe I'll be wrong this time. But right now, I think the Dallas Stars taking care of business, and I think they will in this series. But I want to know what you guys think. Let me know down below. What do you guys think of this series so far? It's been an entertaining series. Unfortunately, it's been more of me watching the highlights because it's so late for me here on the East Coast. 11:30, 12 o'clock. That's late for me. But I've really enjoyed what I've seen from this series so far. Both teams, there's a reason both teams are here. They're meant to be here. And I know Oilers fans are going to get upset with this video because I'm criticizing them. But I think it's constructive criticism. And I think the Oilers need that right now. This is a team that is, I think they're better than what they've shown. They should be in a position that they're at right now. Let's see when crunch time comes. They're facing some adversity. Can they find a way to drag out a win in Game 4? Because if you have to go back to Dallas for Game 5, yeah, maybe they win Game 5. But now it's kind of like the Colorado effect in the second round against Dallas, right? They were down 3-1 in that series. They lost both games at home. And now you have to go back to Dallas for Game 5 and 6 and a Game 7 just to win that series. That's going to be very difficult for the Oilers. That's a lot to expect from them. They got to find a way. They have to treat this like the Florida Panthers did in their Game 4. This is a desperate game. And we need to see a ton of desperation from the Oilers. And I think they find a way to prevail. Damn, if they want to prevent this series from ending quickly in 5 or 6, the Oilers got to find a way to win Game 4 at home. Let me know what you guys think down below. What do you think of the series so far? Who do you think is going to win this series after the first 3 games? We've seen a little bit more of a sample size than after Game 1. I'd love to know what you guys think. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you again next time.